podcast presented by Moto Fit Club, your go-to resource for moto coaching, fitness, and community for all women riders. Whether you're brand new to riding, a weekend warrior, or professional racer, Moto Fit Club was created by women for women to support your journey on a dirt bike. Please welcome your host, Bree Marcotte.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Moto Made podcast. I'm Bree. I'm here with Brittany with Moto Fit Club.
Yeah, it's nice to be back finally. We've had a couple week break, as did WMX. Along with being stoked to be back doing some pods and catching up on all things WMX, I'm super excited to announce that our Moto Fit Club fitness app is finally launching September 1st. You can see all the details at motofitclub.com, and if you want to subscribe to our email list, you can kind of be the first to know when it's dropping and some more exciting details on that.
Yeah, really excited to keep getting fit. And Brittany, I'm not you, Jackie, or Louise when it comes to fitness, but since using that app and kind of testing it internally, it's perfect for all of us that travel or are riding a lot or have really busy jobs and things like that, where we can get into something like this where you have all of that in the palm of your hand. Like, what's something that you could tell us really quick that's like the best feature that's something we can look forward to?
I think that, yeah, I totally agree. Whenever I'm programming the daily workouts, I always have in mind, everyone that's working 40 hours a week and maybe riding on the weekends, and it's like, man, where or how do I squeeze in a small workout so that I can better myself on the weekend when I'm riding? And I think what's super cool is that obviously not only just being in the palm of your hand, even if you're just subscribed with us monthly, you get full access to myself as a coach, as well as Louise Forsley and Jackie Ives. So anytime you see a workout that morning and you're like, oh, I kind of have a question, or, you need a little motivation, you can message us directly 24/7. We're here for you guys. So, we wanted to make it a little bit more, personable than just all your other fitness apps out there. And that's what we love, because we love, building that friendship and relationship with everybody that trains with us. And it's no different when it comes to the fitness app.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said earlier, you guys can visit motofitclub.com/fitness to sign up for our emails to be the first to find out, and also look for the drop. The site will go live on September 1st, so really excited about that. All right, Big Brittany, we saw some really crazy racing over the last couple weeks. The final round of the WMX, round 3, I believe, because we've done 3 rounds already, was way back when, 500 years ago. Obviously, there's been a lot of racing since then, so some honorable mentions that we thought we'd kind of cover before going into the upcoming rounds. First and foremost, Charlie Keenan finally gets an overall win. Brittany, she went 5th in the first moto and finally took a first place in the second moto, which was good enough to take the overall. So what's your thoughts on Charlie finally securing the overall? We've all been rooting for her for so long, but she finally did it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's surprised that she finally got the overall. She needed a little bit of, I hate to say it, but she needed a little luck on her side, because, everyone's just so freaking fast. And truthfully, the motos are so short that any mistakes that are had, it could either hurt you or it could help you. In her case, it definitely helped with, Lala going down, and she was able to capitalize. And it's just not enough time for Lala to strike back. So really stoked for Charlie. And again, Charlie and Lala took it to Australia and battled it out, and was really badass. It was actually very exciting to watch. We're a little biased, but probably more exciting than the men's classes, to be fair. But we have to note too, even though Charlie did win, we have to left the last round on a super high. Mela Herrick definitely left on a low, unfortunately, even after winning that first moto, which was pretty dominant.
It was a stark contrast, because everybody was talking about Mela's pro debut. Literally had her birthday, finally old enough to actually race pro. She obviously has a stacked resume on championships and wins and racing under her belt. So finally gets to line up with all these pro girls, throw her name in the hat, and perfect textbook first moto. And
yeah,
basically no surprise. I don't think anybody was surprised. I think everybody was kind of like, okay, yeah, this is exactly what we expected to see, was to see Mela Herrick literally whole shot and textbook the entire moto. Yeah. And then unfortunately on that second moto, first turn crash, went down pretty hard. It was actually a huge delay in the race too, just based on the safety around a crash like that, making sure she had the right medical attention and things like that. And the track crew and MX Sports and WMX, everybody did a really good job on making sure that she got the best treatment, getting loaded up, carted off, went and got dealt with. I think the final conclusion was potential concussion or had a concussion. I don't know if you had any info on that, Brittany.
Yeah, definitely a concussion, but it was, I hate to say the word beneficial, but with an unfortunate injury like that, she did have a couple weeks to sort of recalibrate and heal up so that she's 100%, especially for her racing Loretta's, which I think, everybody saw that she crushed it. There's a little adversity that she had to deal with at Loretta's, but it is Loretta Lynn's, and a lot of people have to deal with that with 3 motos, and it's pretty brutal out there. You have the best of the best, and especially for the women's class. I mean, you have kind of a mix of some of the ladies that have gone pro, and then you have a mix of legitimate amateur girls trying to make a statement also at Loretta's. So a lot of eyes are on the women's class now that WMX is being so hyped up. So it was cool to see Mela come back and win Loretta's again. I don't think anyone was super surprised. It was really tight between her and Jordan Jarvis. That third moto was pretty exciting because it was coming down to whoever was going to win that moto. But speaking of Loretta's, we also saw a name that I personally just haven't seen for a little while, and she hasn't raced WMX this year, was Hannah Hodges.
Yeah, that is, talk about a stacked resume. She's been racing for a really long time. Her name's just been in the industry for a long time. So really excited to see that she is going to be racing at Unadilla, which is this weekend, the WMX round number 4. But yeah, really good point. Just to button up High Point round 3, Jamie Estudio, who is currently second in the Canadian WMX series, she did race with a 7th overall, which was her first WMX pro race here in the States. So Jamie's doing a lot of racing, Mela's doing a lot of racing, Charlie's doing great racing internationally and also coming off of a win for the for round 3. So really excited to see what we're going to kind of transition into after this big break, which I guess you can't really call it a break considering every single girl we've talked about so far has been doing tons of racing. It's like there's no off weekend, even for WMX, even for the off-road racers, which we'll get into here now with seeing what the provisional entry list for Unadilla is. Obviously, like we talked about, Mela's coming back, obviously fresh off of her championship in Loretta's, so she's obviously fully recovered and seems completely unfazed by her crash at round 3 of the WMX.
See, that's what's nice when you're young. She's when you're young, you
right
literally,
back up.
Yeah, holy smokes, I do not bounce back up anymore.
No, we'll have to talk to Jackie Ives about that too, how quick she bounces back up being our vet WMX geriatric racer.
Our senior.
What's that?
She's our senior WMX racer.
Yeah, she's the geriatric WMX racer specialist that we have on the pod every so often to kind of sprinkle us in on injury updates and what it feels like to break every bone.
She's never going to let us do this podcast without her ever again.
Yeah, she's pissed right now. Wherever she is, she's pissed right now. But yeah, so speaking of all the young bucks, we obviously have a stacked lineup. Like I said, there was 33 provisional entry list entries. I mean, that 33 is insane. I mean, especially looking at where we've come from, last year just into this year. If we just want to compare just even the last 2 years, so really excited to see kind of how it shakes up. And I think the biggest name that we saw on that list was somebody that Brittany and I have raced against many moons ago. We'll have to throw up the photo of all of us on 65s back at Cycle Ranch. Brandy Richards, who is if you go to KTM's website, the KTM USA website literally in quotes says Brandy Richards is racing royalty. You're telling me that one of the most iconic motorcycle brands in the world, like, it has proclaimed Brandy Richards to be racing royalty. So if that doesn't tell you the caliber of athletes we have signing up right now in this day and age, you're not watching the right sports right now, because she's just stacked with accolades from her racing career. Brittany, you should touch on some of these because it's insane.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. KTM really nailed it with that statement, that's for sure. Brandy is so freaking gnarly. I mean, I actually can't believe. Yeah, I can't believe. I've been like waiting for her to race the WMX, and finally we have such a stacked field that it's like, yes, I'm almost glad she waited, because now, like you said, with 33 entries, give or take, that's almost a full gate. I mean, even with 40 full everyone sees how it looks when you have 40 men on the gate. When we almost have 40 women on the gate is going to be So freaking sweet. I mean, and to have somebody like Brandy Richards line up, with, like you said, a stacked resume of many championships, especially off-road. That's kind of been her jam for the last couple of years, especially even racing at the ISDE and winning it on an individual level, which is extremely impressive. But it's super exciting, not only for the WMX, but for fans, men and women alike, because Brandy is just so on another level. So I'm super excited to see how she does on a motocross track. But we've raced her before, and she grew up racing Moto too, so I don't think it's going to be any... I think that she's going to come to the Moto race and do just as well as she does in the off-road races, for sure.
Well, she's also joining a pretty healthy list of girls right now on the roster that come from off-road. Ava Silvestri is one of them that I believe is signed up as well, and we've seen crazy great results from her, considering this was the first season she also raced a pro WMX national and top 10'd it right off the bat, which is crazy. And Brittany, out of everybody, you know what it's like to take, you know what it means to be able to get a top 10 at this caliber, because you just raced this season too. So when you put that in perspective, like to know how gnarly it is just to get a top 10, like how much you had to fight as a 15, 16, 17 plus year veteran yourself, like the caliber is insane. It's off the charts. So just to kind of cap Brandy Richards' career coming into racing her first WMX, at least for the season, two-time Loretta Lynn's champion, three-time NGPC champion, two-time FIM ISDE champion, multi-time FIM six-day champion for both the individual and the trophy team. I mean, it's crazy. So you add her into the mix with obviously, a range of other girls that are signed up too that came from off-road. I mean, they've all been pretty successful. You look at Michaela. I think she's third or fourth right now in the series. So she came from off-road. Like I said, Ava and a range of other girls, Lauren Woods too, who came from the off-road side. So I'm just as excited as everybody else to see where she kind of stacks up. And with that, I mean, where do you think she's going to line up? Where's the cards going to fall for Brandy?
I really could see a podium, or certainly, without a doubt, top 5. For sure, top 5. I think, I think the speed is there 100%. Any of the ladies we see that come from a very successful off-road racing background, or even currently still race off-road, obviously the raw speed is there. I think sometimes the intensity, though, is different. We've heard Michaela Nielsen talk about, even on the podium, that she's been working on having that intensity from right when the gate drops. I think I don't think any of them necessarily lack intensity once it gets going, but with these motos being so short, it's got to be like so instant, and sometimes that just takes a little time to kind of get into it and get into that race pace, especially with the gate drop and it being so short. So I think Brandy has raced so many different types of races too that I don't think it'll take her long to kind of snap back into that motocross intensity. But I would love to say a top 5, and I wouldn't be shocked if we're looking at a third or fourth, maybe overall. She might need a little luck on her hands because, obviously the field's stacked with some of the ladies being back too. So yeah, it's gonna be cool to see how she does. I'm hoping we'll get some good battles at least. I mean, at this point, just looking at the lineup, we've got top 10 is the most stacked. I'd say even up to 12th place, we're probably going to have some good battles all the way throughout.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I would say confidently a top 5, especially with Mela being back. I'd like to see what she could do. 2 good solid motos. Put together a whole weekend. Obviously Lachlan Turner, Charlie Cannon, like you said, Michaela. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's going to be so gnarly. And the best part about this whole thing is that we finally are getting what we've all been asking for, to see Moto 1 on TV for all of us that aren't at the race. We're finally going to get a live streamed Moto 1 finally on Friday. So we're going to see it real time. So I'm excited for that. We don't have to keep refreshing our phones to check live time and scoring. We're going to be able to watch it, actually see the battles and not just have to relive it through photos and things like that. So I'm pumped for that. So
yes,
the last kind
thank
of
God.
Yeah, the last kind of exciting name that we're throwing in for the first time this season is Bree Sheltema. She's been her whole family's been in the sport for a really long time. Her sister Lindsay, I think, was raced with us way back in the day, back in the 2010 era. So she's been in it a long time, and she has raced WMX before in 2014 or 2024, excuse me, and did pretty good then too. So Bree Shelton is another one to look out for. I think she might do all 3 rounds, the last 3 rounds, but she's definitely competitive. She's got kind of a range of of results racing things, and I will say a lot of the girls that I was doing some research on today were raced the Ricky Carmichael Daytona SX race, and I completely forget about that race because it's just like a one-off kind of in the season, but that is kind of like a nice mix of like the supercross and the like motocross styles coming together. Not necessarily like SMX, but being Daytona itself too is like kind of a unique thing. So I think Hannah Hodges raced that as well, and so it's kind of cool to see that race on their resume too, and they're coming into WMX. So honestly, I don't know why we're not seeing more girls race supercross with all these crazy types of racing with the SMX, the 65 and 85 series we did a couple years ago, and the Daytona race, and all the off-road. It's just the range of talent that the WMX class is seeing is just insane.
It's coming. I think with all these younger girls that are beating the boys in the 60 and 80 class, I think they're going to start. Well, let's back up. A lot of women I've noticed in the last couple of years are actually living and living at training facilities. I think we're going to start seeing more women start to do that at a younger age. I think with that, they might have access to some supercross style tracks. And I think the biggest thing that could potentially progress our sport to having more ladies be comfortable on a supercross track is starting at a young age. So you're kind of just adapting to it when you're younger, and when it's, you're a little bit more fearless when you're younger. So I think jumping on a supercross track and getting used to it, if some of these ladies are on an 80, excuse me, or even on a 65, I think that we're going to start seeing in the next couple years a generation of girls that are going to get their feet wet on a supercross track at a very young age. And then with that, we'll see them, start to competing with the men, or better yet, we might even have maybe some more races similar to maybe a Supercross Futures type of deal. Maybe some select rounds will have women's class out there, and I think it's just everything that's happening right now is just going in such a quick and fast, I should say, a super fun direction for WMX. Obviously, like you said, which we have the WMX debuting at one of the SMX rounds this year, which is a huge step for us.
Yeah. I think you said it best. The trajectory of WMX is tenfold from even when we saw it. I mean, obviously we talk a lot about, and we credit Mickey Keller a lot for the WMA, and then obviously getting to that WMX, point. We credit her a lot to what we felt were huge, like, growth moments for the sport. And so to see how it is today with just the caliber of racers and athletes that we have, almost overnight, because that's kind of how it feels. Like, it kind of feels overnight, even though it's not overnight. You and I both know that. It's almost decades in the making, because there's so many women and big names in our sport that helped get us here. Like I said, Mickey Keller, Christina Denny, they've been in the sport for a long time, and so I'm not shocked that we're finally getting to this point. Like you said, Brandy Richards, I think, is a good example of, she grew up racing with us. I don't want to speak for her. I think the trajectory for her too was to go pro in the women's class, but she was 4 or 5 years younger than we were. So by the time we went pro, we were kind of that last phase out of that pro level racing on Saturdays with the guys. So there really wasn't anything for her to kind of move into. So I think that's why we saw a lot of women kind of gravitate towards off-road. So you see all these girls kind of racing and owning the off-road side. And now that WMX is back, it's like, yeah, we want all those fast girls to come back to racing pro motocross, because I think, like you said, a lot of them did technically start on the motocross side. So it's nice to finally see that platform here. But I will say, to kind of wrap up the WMX Insight chat here, for the remaining rounds of the WMX, I think a big name that's also coming overseas to race is Daniela Guillen. She's a Spain rider. She has, the stats are crazy too for her. She's been a long time racer. She started back in 2021. She's got 21 podiums, 14 race wins, and 7 GP wins over at the MXGP series for women. So I think she's going to be pretty damn competitive, maybe more competitive than what we've seen come over before from the MXGP series. So I don't know, Brittany, what are your thoughts when you compare some of these MXGP girls coming over to compete?
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting for us because, you know, when you have international talent come over, obviously we've seen that they come over here and race the series, or they do the full series, and, you know, they become pretty dominant. So I think the biggest thing is for, you know, if Danielle comes over and she can get adjusted to the States as quick as she can, and, you know, she's fairly young, so that'll probably be on her side coming over here. But I think, yeah, just trying to adapt to the American tracks, you know, get into just try to get that jet lag out of your system as fast as possible and, you know, really focus on the race. I think she could probably do some serious damage. I mean, obviously she is a race winner, and, you know, the GP tracks are absolutely no joke. You know, I think we have some really fun and some gnarly tracks here in the U.S., but, you know, the women's class over on the GP side has been around for a while. That series, you know, they take care of the women over there. They really put them on a platform to shine. So I think that it's super cool for us to have them come over and shine some of that light over here in the U.S. And I mean, obviously they want to race to win and do really well, but it's maybe they don't even realize it, but they're really helping grow our sport here in the States by, you know, just coming over here and showing what they can do from, you know, representing their country and showing that there are women all over this world that are extremely fast and talented. So I think she'll definitely do some damage. I would like to see how Unadilla goes with some of the new names that we mentioned, and before I maybe place a position on her, I would like to kind of want to see where everyone goes this weekend. And then, because I believe she's not coming for Unadilla, she will be the last 2 rounds. So, yeah, I think she's going to be a fierce competitor, that's for sure. But she's going to have to beat some serious names that have already been racing the series. So that in itself is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, even for the athletes that are here already in the States, are going to have their work cut out for them. But before we move on and wrap up WMX, for Unadilla, right now, right off the rip, you have to pick top 3. Who's getting on the podium for Unadilla?
I think I'm going to do Mela first, Lala second, and it's hard to not say Brandy, but I think you can't count out Charlie. She's been kind of on a roll. I'd like to say Charlie third. Yeah.
That's pretty solid. I don't know if I can. I think I would probably pick the same. Because again, I want to, obviously as a fan of Brandy Richards just being like such a gnarly human being on a motorcycle, I would probably agree with that top 3 though. Like she'd probably, I mean, like you said, it's just so hard to pick. But I'd probably pick the same, to be honest, because it's such a shakeup. I mean, you have Michaela Nielsen too. You know, she's been really consistent. Man, that's a tough.
Okay, let's do top 5, because I would put Brandy in 4th. I feel like for an overall, I might put her in 4th. And then maybe, but it's hard because, you know, Michaela she's been training hard. You know, she didn't race Loretta's, obviously. She did race Mammoth, and she obviously won Mammoth. But I think that she's been kind of undercover a little bit over these past couple weeks, just freaking grinding it out and doing some training. So, you know, maybe she's unlocked a couple more gears there, and she shows up and maybe she podiums. I mean, she certainly can. She podiumed, I believe, last year at Unadilla too. But it's so stacked. So it's hard to say. I might actually, I'll flip it. I'll say Michaela 4th and Brandy 5th.
And maybe with not racing as much as the other girls, Michaela might have had some time to maybe breathe. And also, hopefully, her team they were able to figure out what's going on with the bike, because I know that was a whole big thing too. The first couple rounds, there was like some type of bike issue going on, at least the first 2 rounds. And I felt bad because I think she's way more capable than what her bike was literally letting her get to the finish. So it was kind of frustrating for her. I'm sure her team is just as frustrated. So if Michaela and her bike make it through a whole moto, I would probably agree with that. I'd probably go Mela, Turner. I want to say Charlie third, but I mean, it's kind of the same thing too. I mean, even just the last round, she went 5-1, you know what I mean? Like, and I get it, like, you know, you can make mistakes and stuff like that, but you only have 12 minutes to kind of figure it out. I don't know. It's so hard, but I think I'd probably do Mela, Turner, Cannon. I'll go Richards, and then I'll do Michaela for the top 5. So we'll see.
All right, place your bets.
I'm stressed already, and it's not even we're not even there yet. But you kind of mentioned it.
You can watch it tomorrow, which is going to be sweet. Finally something to watch on Friday. Yes.
You know, I've seen a lot of moto dads in the comments, to my surprise, screaming about how they can watch the WMX Moto 1. Maybe it's been more I don't know if they're moto dads, but just big fans, and they just come off like dads. I don't know. That's like the vibe I get, because their name is like, Chad or something. But they're all like, where can we watch the first moto? Why isn't it being streamed? And like, I always ask the same thing too. Like, and I really know like how, for a good amount, I know how like the back end works, and I know there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to. It's not as easy as just throwing up some cameras and filming a race. Like it's a whole production. Money's involved. There's a team that has to go and doing it. Yeah, it's not just as easy as that. So like, I know that, on the MX Sports side, the Feld side, like it's been a big group effort to like get to this point. I'm actually shocked that they were able to get to this like as soon as they were. I really thought this was going to be like a next season thing. But a lot of dads in those comments were just fighting hard, tooth and nail, to be like, we want to watch Moto 1 just as much as the rest of us in the world that want to watch it. So shout out to the Moto dads.
We did 2 rounds, and we went to the autograph signings, and there were so many dudes in line, and I was shocked, but totally in a good way, obviously, because you kind of expect more of the ladies to come up and chat with you, because it's like, oh sweet, the women are here, like they
like relatable,
they look up to, yeah, it's very relatable. But I was super pumped to see how much support we got from the guys out there too. They just loved it, and whether they have daughters or, maybe their wife or their girlfriend rides, whatever. I think that it was super cool that we have so much love from everybody at all the rounds, which is, I think we're just at that time in this day and age where it's like, I think people are finally seeing like, it's just badass, whether you are riding just a weekend warrior or you ride at a professional level, I think that we've been getting a lot of support. Even, the AMA has been super supportive. Just a different time than back in the 2010-ish, give or take, era where, we've got this platform and they're really pushing it and they're helping, support all the ladies out there. And that's what we obviously want to do too. We want to help, as Moto Fit Club, we want to help also promote the ladies who ride. Again, whether you're a beginner, weekend warrior, or you're a pro, I think in this day and age with social media and everything, it's been so freaking sweet to see love from everybody. So
yeah,
we're in a good time right now. This is exciting because now I'm stressed about my picks that I already said.
No, I know. Wait till the fantasy starts to kick in, which maybe that's something Moto Fit Club got. We might need to figure out how to get some type of WMX fantasy going. And I'm saying that now until someone's
knocked my desk over.
I know. I'm getting it. We're old now. We're sitting in our wheelchairs trying to do a podcast. I think the other thing too, to capitalize on what you were saying too, Brittany, was like, it's not AMA, Feld, MX Sports. It's not, and all the sponsors, because it's the Women's Motocross Championship powered by Syncrony, which is huge to have a title sponsor for WMX. That's a big deal. So I think it's not just currently supporting what we already have, what's been built, and then just maintaining it. It's all those entities are working together to build, for the future of the sport. It's not just sustaining it anymore. We're not just trying to figure out how to get to the next round and then we don't know what's going on after that. There is so much development around WMX. So I think that's the biggest difference that we're seeing right now is, yes, we're seeing all the sport that we always knew was there. We always knew that motocross is always a family sport. You know, sometimes it's shocking to see, like you said, it's like in a good way. You see all these guys wanting to come up and get your guys' autographs because it's like, yeah, we are badass. Like we should have a huge line of a diverse group of people that want to come get everybody's autographs, because it's pretty gnarly what we can put together on a weekend and what we do on a dirt bike. But it's the group effort of all of these assets coming together to literally grow the sport of WMX and the dedication to it. All right, so you kind of mentioned it earlier in the podcast, but something that's super exciting that's never happened before in the history of our sport is for the final 3 rounds of the SMX playoffs this year, at the very final round 31, because there's so many rounds this year, we'll be hosting the WMX Invitational at the 2026 Super Motocross World Championship final at Thunder Ridge Nature Arena in Branson, Missouri, September 26th. So that'll be a really exciting time to not only have all the WMX stars that you see, you know, at the WMX series come out and race a super motocross style track, which we've never seen before, which will be really exciting. This isn't part of the WMX Championship. Their championship will wrap up, obviously, in Ironman on August 30th, but this is, like I said, the WMX Invitational, which is really, really cool. It's a huge platform for all the women to kind of showcase to such a huge audience. I mean, obviously, we have a huge fan base, but to be able to see this platform be presented to these athletes is going to be something we've never really seen before.
And you've been there. You got to, you know, kind of do like a little pre-run of it. And it looks like the venue's pretty sweet.
Yeah, the venue's super cool. The biggest thing with Super Motocross is we like to take these final 3 rounds that it's like the postseason playoffs is kind of like what we call it. And we want to go to venues that we've never, that's unique to racing dirt bikes. You know, obviously we've been to iconic places like the LA Coliseum. You know, we've been to drag strips before. You know, we're going to be doing 2 soccer stadiums, you know, coming up. So the first 2 playoffs will be in soccer stadiums, which is really cool because it kind of gives it a super unique feel to something that we've, you know, kind of puts a little unique twist on the events. So the thing that makes Branson so unique, I think anytime you talk to a rider that's raced in the Midwest, everybody rants and raves about the dirt. I think Ricky Carmichael said his favorite dirt was always in Missouri, because going to St. Louis for Supercross, the riders love that dirt. So I think that's going to be a huge element of, you know, the racing component, is not only that the track is going to be unique because it's obviously a blend of Supercross and motocross, but the venue is going to be crazy. I mean, we're basically racing around a massive concert stage. So the views are going to be crazy. The crowd's going to be insane. The dirt's going to be perfect. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that they didn't like Midwest dirt. And then obviously just the crowd and the, you know, it's going to be it's broadcasted live. It's going to be such a huge event. So as somebody who's raced something like X Games before, what would be your one piece of advice as we wrap it up, like to the athletes that are going to be racing something that's going to have such a massive stage that's never been done before?
It's it's such a unique opportunity for the women to be able to go do this. And I don't think any of the ladies out there are going to be taken off guard by the crowd cheering them on and screaming and being insane. I think, just kind of bringing it more into a quote unquote indoor type of setting. I think the biggest thing is just all the hype around it. And, you know, definitely something that's going to be happening in the evening time, like almost at night, I'm pretty sure is the schedule. So I think that schedule wise is going to be definitely different. There's going to be so much hype around it. So trying to focus is probably going to be more of a challenge than anything. And then also just trying to figure out how to adapt to that style of a track as quick as possible. I think that all the ladies out there are so professional. They've already gone through a whole season. Most of them raced this whole season. They're going to be used to the crazy fans. But definitely going to be a unique atmosphere happening at night. Totally different style of a track. So I think there's a couple elements in there that they're just going to have to really try to focus in on that, especially when, you know, the flames go off and the gate drops and everyone starts freaking out and cheering. You know, they're really going to have to hone in and maybe maybe try to focus a little harder on this style of a track and atmosphere. Yeah.
Before we go forward, will you turn your echo off? It's like capping your audio, so it's like dimming your audio hard because your levels are spiking, and so then it like dips you back down.
It won't let me.
Weird, yeah.
Well, because we're recording, so it won't let me turn it off.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Well,
Was that bad? You could wrap it up. I won't say anything.
Okay, yeah, because it's doing that weird thing. That's so weird. All right, we'll wrap this up and then we'll do our fitness one. I gotta edit this apparently. All right, cool. So obviously we only have the 3 rounds left. We've got Unadilla this weekend. We'll have Budds Creek August 23rd, and then we'll have the WMX Championship wrap up in Ironman on August 30th. So really excited to kind of watch that and see how the racing plays out. In the meantime, please go visit motofitclub.com for all information, news, everything like that, and definitely check out motofitclub.com/fitness to kind of take a look at what we're going to put out on September 1st. We're really excited about that. We've been working really hard. Brittany has put blood, sweat, and tears, probably more sweat than anything, maybe some tears, into building out hyper-focused plans that revolve around racing, riding, fitness. That's going to make you better on the bike. So we're really excited about that. Brittany, any last words to sign us off here?
Looking forward to this weekend and seeing Moto 1 live.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment on what you want to hear next on the Moto Made podcast. Visit motofitclub.com for upcoming training courses, fitness programs, and community events and ride days. Follow us on social media at Moto Fit Club and check out our latest videos on our new YouTube channel. A big thank you to all of our Moto Fit Club sponsors: Free Bros Racing, Sign Art Graphics, Factory Connection, Rhino Power, and of course FMF Pipes. I'm Bree Marcotte. We'll see you at the track.